Have you ever found yourself announcing your goals before you've even taken the first step? Do you ever catch yourself chasing praise more than progress? In a world that's louder than ever, what would it look like to grow silently? If you're on a mission to become stronger, wiser, and more grounded without needing a round of applause every time you level up, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Here, we don't just talk self-improvement, we live it. Quietly, consistently, and with purpose. Let's explore how to push yourself silently, using timeless Stoic wisdom to master your mind, your actions, and your life. 1. The power of silence. Speak less, do more. Silence is often misunderstood in a world that equates volume with value. In the age of constant updates, endless commentary, and the loud pursuit of validation, silence seems outdated, almost like a weakness. But this perception is dangerously misleading. In reality, silence is one of the most potent tools you can wield. It creates space for clarity, sharpens your focus, and shields you from the noise of unneeded opinions. Think about the last time you told someone about your goals before you had made any progress. Chances are you felt a temporary rush of excitement. Maybe they applauded you or admired your ambition. But then something subtle happened. You lost momentum. Talking about the goal replaced doing the work. You got the reward before you earned it. And that's the danger. When we speak too soon, we give away our energy to empty air and external feedback. Silence protects you from that trap. When you hold your goals close, you maintain ownership of your vision. You avoid unsolicited opinions that can dilute your confidence. You sidestep ego, which loves attention but rarely helps with consistency. When no one is watching, your work becomes yours alone. That solitude, while uncomfortable, is incredibly fertile ground for growth. This isn't about becoming secretive or antisocial. It's about being strategic with your words. Not everything needs to be shared. Not every idea needs an audience. There's immense strength in withholding until the time is right. You don't owe the world an explanation or a forecast of your future. You owe yourself the discipline to stay committed even when no one is clapping. There's a reason the phrase, "don't declare, demonstrate," holds weight. Words are cheap. Execution is rare. When you choose to remain quiet and focus on action, you build an inner reserve of energy. That energy, when channeled into meaningful work, multiplies. And when the result finally surfaces, it doesn't require validation. It speaks for itself. Consider athletes, artists, and entrepreneurs who trained or worked in obscurity for years. They didn't constantly broadcast their hustle. They weren't preoccupied with proving themselves every step of the way. They trusted the process, committed to the grind, and let their outcomes deliver the message. Silence wasn't a limitation. It was their strategy. In silence, you can hear your thoughts better. You can refine your instincts. You can build resilience without the crutch of encouragement. This internal development is often what separates those who dream from those who do. So the next time you feel the urge to talk about your plans, pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me, or is this feeding my ego? Will this conversation fuel action, or will it substitute for it? More often than not, you'll find that silence is the better choice. Remember, the less you say, the more you can do. And when your work finally speaks, it will speak volumes. 2. Purpose over praise. Let go of recognition. Why do you do what you do? It's a question we all have to confront at some point. Are your actions fueled by internal purpose or driven by the pursuit of external praise? The distinction is crucial. Purpose is stable, rooted in something deep within you. Praise, on the other hand, is fickle, dependent on trends, attention spans, and approval from people who may never understand your journey. In today's hyper-connected world, it's easy to get caught in the trap of performance. Social media, in particular, encourages us to chase likes, comments, and visibility. But here's the problem. When you seek validation from others, your compass starts to spin wildly. You lose track of your own values and begin molding yourself to fit the applause. Over time, your identity becomes hollow, shaped by what others want rather than who you truly are. Real growth doesn't happen in front of an audience. It happens quietly, in the hours no one sees. Think of a writer perfecting drafts in solitude, a musician practicing scales alone in a dim room, or a coder refining their craft into the late hours of the night. These people aren't doing it for followers or applause. They're doing it because they're compelled by something internal. A love for the process, a hunger for mastery, a need to bring something meaningful into the world. Take the example of Grigory Perelman, the Russian mathematician who solved the Poincare conjecture, a problem that had stumped scholars for over a century. He was awarded the Fields Medal and a $1 million Clay Millennium Prize. He turned both down. He wasn't interested in trophies. The work itself, the process of thinking deeply, solving a profound problem, was enough. That kind of internal validation is rare and powerful. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you honest. It frees you from the addictive cycle of needing to be seen to feel worthy. If your identity is built on praise, what happens when it stops? When people stop noticing or clapping? If that approval is your fuel, your motivation will die when the spotlight dims. But when your actions are rooted in purpose, you can endure the silence, the setbacks, and the solitude. You keep moving forward, not because the world is watching, but because your mission matters to you. Let go of recognition. Stop measuring your value by how loudly the world applauds. Measure it by how consistently you show up, by how much you grow, by how true you remain to yourself even when no one else is looking. Live for your own approval, not the world's validation. 3. Build in silence. Progress is a private journey. In a world addicted to visibility, choosing to build in silence is a radical act. The pressure to announce every milestone, to constantly update others on your progress, can be overwhelming. But here's the truth. Progress isn't always photogenic. It's messy, it's slow, it's personal, and the most meaningful breakthroughs often happen away from the spotlight. When you build in silence, you reclaim your journey. You allow yourself to evolve without interference. There's no need to filter your process to make it digestible or impressive to others. You're not performing, you're practicing. You're growing in real, imperfect ways. Take Michael, for example. For 6 months, he disappeared into his own world. He spent hours every day learning how to code. No fanfare, no posts, no bragging. He didn't talk about his potential. He refined it. When he finally emerged, he wasn't seeking attention. He didn't have to. His work spoke for itself. He built an app that changed the way a small community communicated. It wasn't the product of hype. It was the product of quiet dedication. Silence allows you to make mistakes without scrutiny. It gives you the space to pivot, learn, and grow without judgment. When no one is watching, you can experiment freely. You're not burdened by expectations or performance anxiety. You're free to be a student, a beginner, a work in progress. Another advantage of building in silence is the conservation of energy. Sharing every step of your journey takes mental effort. Explaining your plans, defending your process, managing others' reactions. It all drains you. That's energy you could be using to refine your craft. By staying quiet, you keep that power for yourself. This doesn't mean you should isolate yourself completely. Trusted mentors, peers, or communities can provide invaluable support. But choose them wisely. Share selectively. The world doesn't need to know everything you're doing. What matters most is that you keep doing it. When the time is right, your results will speak louder than any status update ever could. People will notice, not because you shouted, but because your work is undeniable. Building in silence requires patience and humility. You have to be willing to delay recognition. You have to trust that your path, though unseen, is still valid. That the value of your journey isn't determined by how visible it is, but by how much it changes you. So keep going, keep building, keep learning, quietly, steadily, relentlessly, and when you finally step into the light, you won't have to explain a thing. 4. Control, not complaint. Turn frustration into fuel. Life has a way of surprising us, often in ways we least expect, and usually not in the ways we want. Plans unravel, people let us down, delays happen, we make mistakes. And in those moments of tension and frustration, the natural human response is often to complain. We vent, we stew, we blame. But has that ever changed the outcome? Complaining is seductive. It gives us a brief illusion of control, a false comfort. We feel that by voicing our discontent, we are doing something. Yet all we're really doing is reinforcing our powerlessness. Complaining is a passive act. It asks nothing of us but attention to what's wrong. It doesn't lead to progress. It doesn't create change. It just amplifies misery. The Stoics, wise and weathered by life's harsh realities, saw this clearly. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his journal, what we now know as meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That simple truth cuts through the fog of frustration like a blade. We do not control the traffic, the behavior of others, or the unexpected turns life takes, but we do control our response. The Stoics taught us to focus our energy where it counts, our own thoughts, choices, and actions. When we fixate on what we can't control, we waste valuable mental and emotional energy. But when we turn inward, toward discipline, toward adaptability, toward action, we reclaim our power. Here's how you can begin this shift. Notice the complaint impulse. The moment something annoys or frustrates you, become aware of the internal reaction. Maybe it's someone cutting in line. Maybe it's your flight getting delayed. Observe the urge to voice your frustration. Pause and reflect. Ask yourself, will complaining improve this situation? Will it move me forward? Most often, the answer is don't redirect energy. Instead of verbalizing irritation, focus on what you can do. Can you use the delay to read, write, meditate, or think? Can you respond to someone's rudeness with patience and composure? Practice reframing. The Stoics practiced a powerful mental exercise, viewing obstacles as opportunities. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." A flight delay becomes a chance to slow down. A missed opportunity might be a redirection towards something better. Build mental toughness. Every time you choose action over complaint, you reinforce a habit of resilience. Life becomes less about reacting to what happens and more about rising to meet it. Frustration can be fuel, but only if you harness it. Think about the last time you were deeply frustrated. What did you do with that energy? Did you ruminate, lash out, or did you use it to push harder, think clearer, or act better? The Stoic path is not about suppression, it's about transmutation. You don't ignore your feelings. You feel them, acknowledge them, and then channel them constructively. Complaints focus on what's wrong. Control focuses on what can be done. And here's something else. People notice your calmness in the face of chaos, your refusal to whine, your decisiveness when others freeze. These qualities make you a rock. They build trust. They create respect. So the next time something goes wrong, remember, you're at a fork in the road. One path leads to complaint and helplessness. The other leads to control, power, and growth. Choose the path that turns frustration into fuel. 5. Emotion mastery. Respond, don't react. Life will provoke you, people will insult you, circumstances will stretch you thin. And within milliseconds, emotions will rise: anger, fear, anxiety, disappointment. That's not weakness, that's biology. Emotions are part of being human. But how you handle those emotions, that's where your power lies. The Stoics believed that true strength wasn't in domination or aggression, but in self-mastery. It wasn't about pretending you don't feel, it was about not being ruled by those feelings. To them, emotional discipline was not repression, it was wisdom. It was the art of responding instead of reacting. Reacting is immediate. It's the snap reply in anger. The door slammed shut, the hasty decision made under stress. It's driven by impulse, not reflection. Responding is different. It's intentional. It involves a pause, a breath of space between stimulus and action. That pause is where you find clarity. It's where you regain control. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." When we face challenges calmly, when we respond with purpose rather than impulse, we prove ourselves. So how do we begin to master our emotions? Name the emotion. Start by identifying what you're feeling. Is it anger, shame, fear? Simply naming the emotion reduces its intensity and gives you a degree of control. Pause and breathe. That tiny space between feeling and action is your power zone. Use it. Take a breath. Count to 5. Let the initial surge pass. Ask, what would my best self do? This question grounds you in who you want to be, not who the situation tempts you to be. Would your best self shout, blame, panic, or listen, reflect, and act? Reflect on impermanence. The Stoics often reminded themselves that emotions, like all things, pass. The anger you feel now will fade. So don't make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. Practice daily. Emotional mastery isn't built overnight. It's a daily exercise. Journal your emotional responses, track your wins and your slips. With each moment of awareness, you grow stronger. Mastery doesn't mean you never feel angry or sad. It means those emotions don't dictate your behavior. You can feel deep sorrow and still act with dignity. You can feel rage, but choose restraint. That's strength. Not the loud kind, but the enduring kind. In modern life, where we're constantly bombarded with information, conflict, and stimulation, emotional discipline is more valuable than ever. It helps you lead. It protects your peace. It improves your relationships. It allows you to operate with clarity when others are clouded by their own reactions. And perhaps most importantly, it grants you freedom. Because when you are not at the mercy of your emotions, no one else can control you through them. Feel everything. Embrace the full range of your humanity. But let reason be your compass. Let intention guide your actions. Because emotional mastery isn't about being less human, it's about being more in charge of your humanity. In the storm, be the calm. In chaos, be the order. Respond, don't react, and you will find power others only dream of. Let results speak for you. You don't need to broadcast your progress. Let your results whisper what your words never could. In the end, it's not about impressing anyone. It's about becoming someone you're proud of, even when no one's looking. If this resonated with you, subscribe, share it with someone on a similar path, and remember, stay quiet, stay focused, stay relentless. This is the Stoic Way. See you in the next video.